The new pressure is creating what the pressure creates. Need, create, which is new creativity, new genius, a new language, a new civilization, a new economy, a new politics. All of this is just a training to start to kind of widen the experience, so you understand that this world needs you so bad. So steadfast. You want to, you made it into this room because you have a destiny to be a leader of this age. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reality Riffing. I'm here with a dear friend of mine, Noah Berman. He is an incredible intuitive seer and has kind of what I would describe as some of the crystalline soul group skill set, the sensory system skill set that a lot of your generation has, but I think, either are scared of or don't know what to do with or haven't cultivated the way you have, Noah. And all of us have these faculties, and I want to kind of pick your brain and talk to you about some of how this has happened or how it does happen. Also, you're the co-founder of Higher Mind. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay. Higher Mind, which is about to launch this month and
early next month.
Let's put this right so you can get intimate. Early next month, and it sounds like a really interesting line of products. Give me the 4 categories.
Memory. So the ingredients are herbs, mushrooms, bioidenticals, and algae, and the products are for brain health, for memory, focus, and alertness.
Cool, yeah, and I saw some of the vibe of the formula you were showing me a little bit in the summer. It looks really interesting. So let's just kind of get started and talk about what age were you when you realized that you were seeing things that other people weren't seeing?
I had different stages of awareness around it, but I didn't have language to consider it different until my teenage years. But it was really, as young as I can remember, I'd ask my parents questions like, why do people who are mean to children smell differently? Because they actually would smell different to me. And then I would just kind of know things or guess things without knowing why. Like the library, even a little kid before elementary school, they asked for a password, I would just type in a password, it would work. Or in elementary school as well, to ask for a password, it would work. And just little things like that where I'm just like, oh, I'm smart or quick-witted. I would just get stuff and didn't consider that anything because I grew up in a home that was more, my dad was Jewish, my mom was Catholic, and there was a lot of dissension from both sides of the family around that where there was not a lot of acceptance from extended family on either side, especially my parents having me later in life. Just that generation, it was actually really a big deal. So they chose to not really have any kind of information or opinion around spirituality or what that meant. Yeah. So it wasn't, this doesn't exist or does exist. It was just very neutral. Yeah. Which actually I think was helpful because there wasn't a lot of programming around it, but I also didn't ascribe it to any sense of something else going on. I was just like, okay, I'm knowing things or things are happening and that's cool. And but it was really when I was a teenager, right? I think the first time I was like, oh wow, something really is happening. I was 17 and I said to one of my best friends, I really think that your sister experienced some sexual trauma. This is the person who did it. And I feel like in about 3 weeks, she'll tell you about it. And 3 weeks later, she shared it was the person I said it was. And after that information was validated, it almost felt like a floodgate where thoughts and feelings and emotions felt more malleable. Just as much as I could pick up this microphone, I could pick up a feeling someone's experienced and talk about it or move it or interact with it. And people really quickly started even just coming up to me at restaurants or whatever and saying, hey, can I talk to you? You seem like someone I can talk to, or you seem really intuitive. And it felt kind of like something was magnetizing, like something was happening. Wow. And that's where it started going faster, was then.
Wow. And does it still come in in the different clairaudience, clairvoyance, how does it come for you? So it comes in, describe it. You said there's smells?
All of it, but I would say the strongest experience is just a stream of consciousness that appears as thought, but it's not the same as if I were just thinking about something on my own accord. It's just like a stream of consciousness.
Yeah. So the kind of quality of your own thought forms, they have a different type of viscousness, we'll call it, from this kind of, we'll call it this like maybe, you know, the scroll of the Akashic records or whatever
It's
whatever
just a
you're
deeper
reading.
sense of knowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have so that was 17, that was, you know, however many, a decade plus ago.
Yeah.
What have you consciously cultivated the skill set, or how have you related with it?
I have found that it's been mostly a process of unlearning than a process of learning or trying to cultivate, in terms of unstripping and unveiling different levels of cultural guilt and shame around what I have permission to have, not only in terms of consciousness, but just in general, feeling that everything is accessible and within reach and not withheld. And I feel like that there's a lot of, you know, fear I had around talking about it for a long time, just in terms of it not being something that was accepted in the world that I grew up in or talked about at all. It just felt like something strange, or that was considered fraud in general to a large degree. So I had a lot of fears around being taken seriously for it as a person and as a professional. And it took a long time to feel comfortable, and experiences that, you know, because I would experience things just kind of coming out of my mouth almost uncontrollably at certain points.
Like a little like a psychic Tourette's.
Right. So the first, like, you know, I've done a lot of work in consumer packaged goods and health and wellness, and the first, you know, formulas. I do what's like kind of inside the products more than the outside. Like, what are the ingredients? Where do we manufacture it? Where do we find them? That kind of stuff. So the first startup I was at a certain point, I was walking around. We were picking out a new printer at Staples, and I had liked a certain one for the office. I was with our office assistant, and I saw a cloud of smoke around her, and I said, I really feel like there's going to be an explosion. And at first I thought I was going to be in Union Square where the office was. It was in New York at the time. And then after we got away from Union Square, I was like, let's get out of here. Because I didn't understand at first what I was experiencing. I was like, no, there's a cloud of smoke around you. I feel like what I'm getting is there might be an explosion near you tonight or tomorrow. And she lived in Harlem, and the next day there was a big gas leak in a building, exploded 3 blocks away from her. So everyone in the office kind of found out about that. And I still had my job, and no one really judged me all that much. So that made me feel safer. And that's where it started becoming more part of my career, and I started talking about it more openly. But before that, I would have, like the psychic Tourette's almost, where I would, you know, say to our CFO, like, he's talking, he's like, my mom had me. I'm like, yeah, when you were 30. You know, it's like, I shouldn't, you know.
You should know that, but yeah.
It's like, why would I know that? But it's like, sometimes I'll even hear like an echo while someone's talking, where I'm hearing them finish their sentence right before they finish it, or these types of things. So that's kind of how it began to emerge. And but it hasn't been so much a sense of honing in or trying to amplify it, so much as letting go of the fear or shame around it. And also, I don't think that it can come, I think that just learning it doesn't come from a sense of an attachment to being right or wrong, because I feel like dualistic thinking is very much still coming from judgment. So it's getting out of that black and white and finding the gray in between. Not seeing people as good people or bad people. I'm divested from that. There's no such thing, right? We just have options to make higher or lower choices, and just things that are in our culture, I think, stop us from seeing. So it's really unstripping to feel more of a sense of what I feel is truthful or not truthful. In my own awareness.
And we were just talking before this about, you know, some of the chemical warfare of certain aspects of, you know, the food industry, and certainly the, you know, way all of that has been constructed in some way to calcify the pineal gland and to basically keep us from having as much of a sensory awareness.
I mean, I lost 100 pounds. I had a lot of health issues when I was a teenager. That was happening kind of at the same time I was realizing what was going on, and that's kind of what got me into more of the product and healthy stuff realm. And as I started healing my body, I think my mind opened up more to this type of stuff. And I think, there are a lot of chemicals in our food, and also in our homes, right? It's just the EPA considers indoor air toxins up to 8 times more toxic than outdoor air toxins. And in this country, there are only about 10 chemicals that are banned for usage in buildings. In the European Union, there are over 1,000, right? So we are exposed to our kitchen cabinets, off-gassing formaldehyde, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the time. It's not just the food, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So I would love to just kind of jump into having you do a little example of how this works for you, and then we can continue to talk about some of the mechanism, and we can also ask questions about that as well. Because let me give you my prophecy. I got very clearly here and giving a reading to Noah Berman that you're going to be teaching people how to do this in some way, which is, you're teaching the indescribable, but I got really like a whole thing that this is part of, the next. So, and how do you teach people how to kind of deconstruct some of the things that have been installed by the culture in the politic and the parental units? I mean, that's kind of that's really it's the stripping away of that
it's
stuff.
the unstripping, and it comes from feeling, right? And I think that we're programmed not to feel, not to show emotions, to feel like negative emotions or sadness or discontent is bad, to not express that, to fix that because that's a problem. And I really feel like the avoidance of pain is what's causing our pain and leading us into addiction. And I really feel like addiction is what takes us out of intuition to a large degree, not just of substances, but also technology and relationships and thoughts and behaviors. And to really just feel. I think that's why meditation is really uncomfortable for a lot of people in the beginning, because it brings up emotions that are hard, but trusting that if you continue to feel them, they don't stay, that feeling them is how you lift and unveil into your true self, right? I always say that our future self is our healed self. And the way to get there is to feel. And if you can feel past the pain, on the other side of that, you can feel self-trust and self-intimacy and self-actualization, and embody a sense that you are enough as you are. You don't need the things that are sold to you or marketed to you that come from a sense of needing to be better or worse or fix or change, because we're not here to fix ourselves. We're here to grow comfortable with ourselves and in our own skin.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I said at some point that that true enlightenment is a depth of comfort in your own skin, at least in this particular plane. There's other aspects of that when we're not in human form, but if you think about how much suffering the human body creates for people in that dissonance of embodiment and feeling and
Right, it's very temporary as I see it, like being in this body, but how many of us really consistently have a self-nurturing dialogue with our body, right? How many of us are really saying, like, this is sacred, and this is like here to carry a sense of love with me, no matter what it looks like or feels like or what I've been sold or what other people have to say. That is a sense of strength that comes from not choosing to listen to what we've been told or what we've been taught in our culture. But that power inevitably will change our culture if enough of us choose it, which is what's happening.
Yes, it is. Beautiful. Thank you. Aho. Very, very well said, Noah. Okay, so let's somebody want to ante up with a question you have burning about something in your life that Noah can give you a read on? We have a very active studio audience today. They're just all brimming to share their personal life on reality riffing. Go ahead, Minnie Rose. We can always count on you. Thanks, girl.
Yes, I always say there is no coincidence in life. And
I agree.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny how life's unfolded for me and for the whole community in general. So as I unfold them, everything's sometimes getting harder for me. to go the next day, because as we're growing older, our body sometimes is less flexible. And you just say something very beautiful about nurturing your body, and have that talk every morning with yourself, which is helping us to unlock a lot of things. So I just wondered if you can give us some other tips for this process as we're growing older, how to embrace that moment.
And specific to her, she's not asking specifically, but I'll put her on the hot seat.
She's very intuitive.
Yeah, no, I just think, you are very oriented toward success, and you have a lot of goals for yourself, right? And I feel like you're in a process of redefining what success means to you, not based on anyone else's parameters that maybe you've been given at some point. And I think that you are already finding a lot of comfort where you are, right? In a lot of ways, you're really there, but you're questioning, should I be doing more? And if I really do more, will that make the difference that I want? But I think you're also dissecting what it is that you really want, and if what you want is really going to get you the other things that you think you need, right? So it may be just a process of deciding that you're okay as you are, which I think you have. But I also think oftentimes we can raise our vibration, but it's hard to hold it, right? Because we're still haunted by our history. So it's like all these things and you feel it, but then maybe left to your own devices, other thought patterns can come up. And I think it's just noticing it and being gentle with that and having a conversation and saying, okay, it's interesting that you're here, but is that dialogue really for my highest good? And if you're serving me, you can stay and I can have a conversation with you. And if not, I gently invite you to visit another time, right? Because sometimes just because a sought line comes up doesn't mean you have to go with it. It often can be adversarial, because you've done a lot of work on yourself, especially the past few years, and you're in a place now where you have a lot of self-liberation and you really are there in self-trust. It's just that I think some of the patterns you have can sometimes feel like attack or doubting, or feel like you should be somewhere you're not, and you're already where you need to be. I think especially on your mom's side, sometimes you can feel it's a voice that's pushed you forward, but also a voice that sometimes can feel critical, right? And I feel like the more you move into forgiveness with her and just acceptance for what you learn from it to make you who you are, the easier it is with your own relationship with yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
So my question is, well, I don't know if it's a question, but I'm deciding to move to a different country in 2 weeks. And so I guess I'm just like nervous, but I'm also like afraid that it's not gonna happen. I have this weird thing. I'm like, did I really get my ticket? Am I really doing this? So I don't know. I guess I just want to know what's gonna be on the other side.
I definitely feel like it's happening. I definitely feel like it's really good for you, and you feel like you have no other option that could be better. So you're just walking forward. But I think there's a part of you that knows that it may be hard at first, that there's a lot of work to do to achieve what you want and establish yourself in the way you need to feel comfortable. So there's some resistance around, is this happening or not happening? It's happening. You just also feel like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But you're going to prove to yourself how strong you are through this experience, no matter how long it is or how long you're there. I definitely feel like you may move again at another point, maybe in the next few years, but I definitely also feel like this is the right investment of your time right now. This is about personal power. And freedom, and not listening to some people that may have doubted you, right? And it feels really exciting, so I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mine's simple. Love.
Do you have a question in particular, or
Just tell me what you feel. I'm open.
I feel like this has to do with openness, right? And how much how open you think you are and how open you actually are, because I think that there's a little bit of a sense of betrayal that still comes up that leads to how much you feel like you can trust. But it's not that you don't feel ready, it's that there's still a little bit of anger from the past that you're still processing right now, and it feels like you've done a lot of work, but there's still a little bit more letting go that's unfolding in real time. Just in terms of honesty, where I feel like past partnerships were maybe wasn't always as direct as it could be in terms of meeting each other's needs. And now you're learning more about self-assertion of, because there's maybe a pattern of just, I feel in the past, like a withholding where, this person wasn't telling you how they felt exactly, and you had to pull that information out of them. What that did for you is find more of your own words of, this is what I need to hear from you, this is how I need to be met, to find more of your own voice. So I feel like finding that meaning, that's why that was there, will help you in feeling more receptive, so that you can be stronger in the next partnership and kind of be more met. And I feel like that's coming for you. And yeah. So that's coming for you, and the energy is opening up through forgiveness and understanding of what in the past hurt was there and what it's leading you into, which is more balance. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Morgana. This is the first time I'm here.
Welcome.
I have so many questions, but if I could narrow it to one. I recently moved in here. I'm from Ecuador. And I never thought I would be here in LA. I'm working. I graduated from Berklee College of Music, Film Composing. And, I fought so much to get to the place where I am right now and working with a composer here, assisting him. And it's been great, and I feel so lucky and grateful, but at the same time, I'm always, questioning. It's been a lot of fighting along the way, and I guess, I don't know, my question is, am I on the right track?
I mean, the work actually feels really good, and it feels like this relationship, no matter how long it is, will lead into other relationships that are really good. I feel like your living situation is kind of stressing you out, though I actually think that you'll stay living near where you are, but maybe a different home, that just, it feels a little ungrounded for you, like you can't be yourself or relax. Feels a little bit of on eggshells, if that makes sense.
Definitely very stressful.
Yeah.
Which is very stressful, yeah.
Yeah, so that feels hard, and it's making you doubt if you made the right choice. But you're in the right place, and you worked really hard to get here. I wouldn't give up at all. You're in a good situation with your work. It's opening up for you. It's more just, I would encourage you to find a new home soon, which you may already be thinking about or working on. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If you want to ask a follow-up question, you can, which is true for everyone. If there was something else, because you said you had a bunch of questions around that.
Yes. The second question is, I've had a lot of, especially for, how do I put this? I've had a lot of mystery problems around the health. So I've had a lot of situations where literally doctors have no idea what the diagnosis is and what and that's when I've got into meditation and yoga and starting to research other kind of solutions.
I feel like you may have been exposed to some chemical estrogens. I would really encourage you not to drink out of plastic bottles and to look into having more broccoli sprouts or other kind of cruciferous vegetables to a large degree to help detoxify that. There's also something called DIM that I feel might really help you. It's an extract from broccoli. High amounts can help flush some of that out of your system, but I feel like that may be affecting you hormonally a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's chemical
that's what
estrogens, I feel, is in your system.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
whole life they didn't know what it was, and now they say it could be like a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, it comes from actual chemical exposure.
Okay.
So I would try to avoid eating out of plastic, especially softer plastics, because those leach more into the foods and the water, and to look into, broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts from Whole Foods are all soaked in chlorine, which can cause other problems because of Whole Foods regulations. So I would look into maybe getting from a local health food store. But that is kind of the best food that would help shift what's going on for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Okay, so we'll take one more burning question or set of questions. Anyone? Yeah, you should do it. Here, hold on. We need the microphone because of the taping.
I'm sure you already know this, but I hate
I know.
public speaking. But
it's
my
good to see you.
question, likewise, my question is, how do you recommend developing your gift?
It's more, I really feel like
for each person, I'm saying like for you or for anyone.
it's a sense also that it's an invitation, and that this energy is wanting us to feel this and wanting us to have it, that it's not something that's like the province for someone who's special, that actually it's available for everyone, and that the energy itself wants us to have, wants us to be provided for, and wants us to be aware, and wants us to know, and that it's something that is supposed to be there for everyone, and to welcome it in its invitation, so that and also, you know, feeling safe around it, because it requires letting go of control or a lot of what we've been told. Because a lot of our social systems don't support this, right? But it's feeling like that things are happening on your behalf for you to feel more sensitive, and the sensitivity is actually a good thing and not a bad thing. Embracing the feelings. Yeah.
Do you have anything personal you want to ask? You do, but you know, and ask it. Okay, going once, going twice. Anyone else from the live audience? Else we'll turn back to my riveting questions. You know, okay, fine. So is there anything that you think, like in terms of what's happening culturally or politically, that you would give like a bigger kind of more this time on the planet type of intuitive conversation?
Yeah, I feel like with our current political leadership, there's a huge investment in control and hierarchy and withholding others from others and keeping others without. And that is leading to a lot of people feeling disempowered, or like they can't make a difference, or their vote doesn't matter, or their voice doesn't matter. But the shift is, because we're seeing that these larger bodies of governance are not necessarily taking care of us, that leads to more self-care, more sense of personal autonomy and personal power to make a difference for each one of us. And you know, we have individualized to a large degree, and now I think it's about having personal strength while operating in a way that's interdependent. That we all are social beings, that the best way to heal fear is to understand that we do deeply need one another, but not in a way that's codependent so much as just really authentically showing up for each other and honoring each other for who we are. No, and it's not about, I think in crisis, we can often find a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And that sense of urgency or haste, I think, is often when things go wrong. That you don't want to meet that fear with the same energy, that we still have to be very careful and calm and methodical about how we operate and do things, because you want to rise above stuff, right? If people are throwing stones to each other, you'd rather be in the room 100 feet above the ground than reacting to the fear.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is Yogi Bhajan says, you know, the only way to actually solve a problem is to go to a higher vibrational, you know, state or place and drop it, basically.
Yeah, and you can't engage with it. It doesn't exist in your reality as much.
Do you think we'll have a woman president 2020?
I really hope so. That's what I'm plugging for.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, I think the future is also malleable.
Yes, it is.
I definitely see, you know, sometimes I'll see something really specific in the future, especially if it's for someone's safety or to warn someone of something. But I also feel that our minds can create realities and shifts. And if enough people, you know, we are going to eventually get to a place of more love and empathy in the world and more inclusion and less violence. I know that we'll see a lot more of that in this lifetime for sure, because that's where we're going, even if there are contractions that lead us there, because contractions are always part of the expansion.
Yeah.
But how quickly that happens is up to us. How many people are choosing on a daily basis to work on themselves in terms of meditating and caring for ourselves is a big deal, right? I think it was a couple years ago, something like 400 people went to DC to meditate, and violent crime went down 40% in the week they were there.
Yep.
If enough people's minds are choosing compassion and empathy, that is more powerful than lifting a finger or what you say or do. Is how you are, how your consciousness shows up. So if enough people want peace, or not angry at external authority or figure because there's no more anger,
Yeah.
then that's when we transform. When the actual anger is gone, we don't meet other people's anger with anger. We're just here to heal.
And when that kind of happens individually and collectively, that pervasive vibration, it becomes the order of the day, rather than whatever the other things have been, the misappropriations and misunderstandings.
If love is the most powerful thing, then all the other things just start to disappear, don't mean as much when you're staying in that space. And I think another really important thing is that if you're not in that place, having self-compassion or not feeling guilty or shamed for not being there is what brings you back in more quickly. Because we're human beings, none of us are going to hold a place of like complete peace forever. It's just not what's happening.
It's boring too.
There are things that will pull you out. There are times that you're going to react.
So
and
boring.
Just having like that self-forgiveness and like, okay, I'm noticing the fact that I'm really angry, I'm reacting, but I'm not going to judge myself for it or hold myself hostage for it for hours. I'm going to honor the fact that I'm just doing this because I'm not better or worse than anyone else. I'm just here. Why would I think of myself as anything other than just that happened that moment? I have another moment to live better and just to keep going, because we can't reverse the past. We still have time here to keep making choices that honor our own and others' livelihood to the best capacity we can from here in. Which
you could say is changing the past,
Yeah.
if you really go there and into the vertical time space.
It's like a living amends.
Yeah. It does change the past, because you literally can change your epigenetics and your lineage through the choices that you're making now, going what we would call backward in time, but it's not backward in time.
Yeah, I mean, you're changing the outcomes or trajectory from like karma you've created in the past, and maybe even rising above the law of karma and into just more of a sense of creation.
Yeah. What's your vibe on disclosure, aliens, Pleiadians? Do you meet with these people? Like, how much time do you spend? How many crafts are you on?
I could talk about it, but I'd have to kill you. I definitely feel like we're not alone here.
Yeah,
for sure. I feel like what I feel is that there have been other sentient beings that have visited the planet on the ground, and that there's also consciousness that is ET that we can communicate with through multidimensional fields.
And technology.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of alien technology that has been given to planet Earth.
I believe you. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been like all the kind of Area 51, and I mean, this is one theory that basically the governments have traded certain things for technology in order to, create treaties and do.
Why don't the aliens just give us more minerals then, right? Because right now it's, over 6 million people have died since 1996 in the Democratic Republic of Congo, mining for 4 different conflict minerals used in consumer electronics and microchips.
Yeah.
Right? And that fair trade alliance has only started less than 5 years ago, and still are not fully enforced. So if we're getting this alien technology, why don't we have alien microchips? That's my question.
Well, so we could go down that, since we're barking up this tree. There's the whole, I don't know if you go here, but there's the whole idea that basically there's a agenda to mine the planet Earth using the slaves on planet Earth, slave society, and mind control, and mine all the resources. Like, that's one of the alien theories. I'm not saying I agree with it, but so that would go in line with what you just said.
Yeah, I would say our social systems right now don't create room for inclusion for all, or for all of us to be expressing our gifts or living in our purpose fully, because there's such disparity and inequality that's actually quite extreme.
It's so extreme.
I just don't see it staying that way forever. I don't think it can. I feel like the love will win. But there's definitely, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just what's happening. Like, look out the window. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's there. It's already happened. Yes, now we're in the place of picking up and repairing it. And, I think forgiveness comes into play because even, someone can be nefarious their whole life and decide one day that they're going to be the person to help the world, and that, regardless of your history, you still can be, especially if you're in an empowered position. Yeah. So the forgiveness and non-judgment still comes in with people regardless of what they've done in the past, because we're all one with all of it. No matter what you've done or who you are, it's still part of me. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter so much if we can untether from the stories. But I think it's not a conspiracy theory. It's obvious, right? That there's inequality in a small group of people that have a large degree of power.
Yeah. And what do you think, do you have anything on what you think is going to be like part of this dismantling of the cabal, we'll call it?
I mean, I think we're seeing it happen in real time. Like the government's shut down, or was recently shut down, or probably will shut down again, or some approximation of that. It's not working. Nothing. Healthcare system is not working. The real estate system. I mean, we have 18 million empty homes and 3 million homeless people. That doesn't seem like a system that's working. Yeah. I feel like all the social systems we have are some way failed. So how can that sustain? I don't think a system only based on profit or gain can sustain. Not in the shifting of consciousness that's happening. Too many people are waking up, realizing what they're worthy of, realizing what the planet really wants for us, for that to continue. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a question now. We've talked about this before, but we'll do it live here at Reality Riffing. So we're building Rama University. What do you, anything that you get about how long, what's gonna have to happen, and how long? What's our timeline around building Rama University, and any other pieces of information? Well, I think you're working on it right now. I think you're still developing and refining your fundraising materials. Yeah. And deciding, I think that you do need some real financial support and some more yang energy involved to get it off the ground, and that takes time and patience for people's own process to wake up, and we know that's happening, but I think you're still refining exactly what you want to do with it and what the conversation is, and I think that by the summer you'll be in a place that you can start really taking in some money, but it will also take time to build, and I think that it looks like you may actually be constructing something opposed to adopting a property. Right. So that takes some time too. Right. But do you get a sense of where it is? I definitely feel like it's in California. Yeah, it is in California. Yeah. And it feels a little bit south of here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And close to the water still. Yeah. Could be like a Big Sur type thing, or near there. Yeah. But you haven't decided, and it could change. Yeah. That just feels like what you're looking at right now. Right. But I see it by the water, south of here, and warm. A lot of space. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Just thought I'd slip one in. Well, Noah, it's so amazing to have you here and just sharing the depth of your wisdom. So grateful to be here. How can people find you to get readings and also find your products? Yeah, noahberman.co is my website. My Instagram that's BERMAN. Yes. Yep. Instagram is @NoahBerman, and Higher Mind is highermindwellness.com. And your Instagram is private, so you got to get approved. Yeah. But I like your style. And then the products are coming out, and where can we find them? First week of March, and order online and certain retailers. So in New York and LA to start. Yeah. Can't wait to try them. Yeah, for sure. Wonderful. Yeah. And you kind of intuited these what to put together and stuff. I mean, you used your faculties to do this. Yeah, am I right? And a lot of actual research and time in a kitchen, and we have research going on as well in a few places. So it is intuition, but there's real hard science too around it, which is important, to have evidence that these things work, because there's so much fraud in the supplement industry.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 70% of supplements don't have what they say in the label. It's highly dysregulated, and it's important to really do your own research and make sure you're using clean products, whether or not they're ones that are my brand. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There are other great products out there, but make sure that you're using ones that are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having
Bless
me.
you,
Yeah.
Satnam.
Satnam.
Thank you.